What's up, guys? HockeyDude1940 here, and this is episode 1 of my NHL team analysis series. What I'm going to be doing with this series is I'm going to be starting with the Winnipeg Jets, moving all the way to the Anaheim Ducks, analyzing all the teams, what they're looking like going into next season and their future, what they did in the offseason. Obviously, free agent frenzy was today, as I'm making this video. It is July 1st at night. The time you guys are watching this, it'll be July 2nd, obviously. But yeah, so I'm going to be starting with the Winnipeg Jets. They finished 11th in the Western Conference last season. Not a very good year for the Winnipeg Jets. Pretty disappointing year. In Winnipeg, for their first 2 seasons, back in Winnipeg, they've missed the playoffs. Those Winnipeg fans, they really want to see some playoff hockey. And they haven't been able to get it so far. And there's been a lot of issues in Winnipeg recently, especially involving Evander Kane. Obviously, the Jets want to hang on to Evander Kane. And he's a very good player. He's going to be extremely hard, if not impossible to replace for the Winnipeg Jets. Evander Kane, they drafted him in 2008, 2009 or something like that. And he's become such a great player. And, their first line left winger puts up a lot of points. And for that type of player wanting out of your organization, that's not good for the future of Winnipeg. He pretty much is the future of Winnipeg, so that's not too good for them. Other than Evander Kane, they don't have a lot of goal scorers. They have Mark Scheifele, who's on the rise. They hope that he turns out to be something special. Michael Frolik, I guess offensively he can put some pucks in the net, but they don't have like a 60 70 plus point guy or a 30 plus goal scorer. They moved Dustin Byfuglien up to the forward position. I'm not sure. I haven't heard anything yet whether they're going to keep him on the forward or move him back to defense. I think they should move him back to defense. Winnipeg's defensive core without Byfuglien, it's okay. But, they have young, the guy Jacob Trouba on the rise. Obviously Zach Bogosian, Tobias Enstrom, Mark Stewart, those guys should be able to hold down the point. But Byfuglien, I don't know. I'm not sure what he's like. Obviously I don't watch any Winnipeg Jet games. But, what type of defenseman was he? I know he was an offensive-minded player. Obviously, he was a forward. He scored 20 goals in his first season with Winnipeg. I thought he was pretty decent at the point. He's a big body. I'm sure he was a great defensive defenseman. But, if the Jets lose Evander Kane, they're not going to have much offense. If they lose Evander Kane, their first line is basically Andrew Ladd, Brian Little, and Dustin Byfuglien, or maybe Blake Wheeler. That's, it's decent, but, there's not a lot of, there's no sniper there. And, Winnipeg, they just, I'm looking at the roster right now, and they just, other than Evander Kane, they really don't have any big names that jump out at me. As far as, point producers, they have a lot of big bodies. That's one thing about Winnipeg. They're a big team. That's their biggest upside. And also goaltending. What's Winnipeg going to do about goaltending? Because Al Montoya was signed by another team today. I believe the Arizona Coyotes, who signed by. Maybe I'm wrong about that. Or no, he signed by the Florida Panthers. Florida Panthers for 2 years. Yes. Now they're left with Andre Pavlik, who isn't the greatest goaltender. They were not able to get Jonas Hiller. He signed with the Calgary Flames. So, I don't know what the Jets are going to do. I can see why Evander Kane would like to leave. The Jets, they don't seem to be going in a positive direction as of right now. And Evander Kane, if he goes, obviously they can bring in some assets back, a couple draft picks, some young players. But yeah, my predictions for them next season, I think Evander Kane will be a Jet next year. I believe he will put up a 25 to 30 goal season, around 60 points on the Jets' first line. I don't think the Jets are going to make the playoffs. I still think they're going to finish around 10th, 11th in the Western Conference. The Western Conference is just so stacked, and especially all the players that were added to the West today. Guys like Spezza, Ginla, Brad Richards, all those guys, going to the Western Conference. Paul Stastny, of course. It's just, the West is, they just have so many stacked teams right now. And for a team like the Jets, it's going to be really hard to push for a playoff spot. But I think if Evander Kane, if they can hold on to him for another couple years, let Mark Scheifele develop, become a top-line center, have Scheifele and Evander Kane alongside each other, eventually add that first-line right winger. I think the Jets could be a great team in the future. Obviously, Bogosian is only 23 years old. Enstrom's 29. Trouba's only 20 years old. I mean, they got some young players. Their main issue is just, to me, just scoring goals and goaltending. But, yeah, and they signed Matthew Perreault today to a 3-year deal, $9 million, $3 million a year. That's definitely going to help out their team up the middle. I mean, it looks like they're going to end up losing Olli Jokinen to free agency, so that left a center spot. They have Brian Little, Mark Scheifele in the center position. But yeah, they definitely needed a guy like Perreault to fill up that third line for them. That's a great signing for them. They re-signed Chris Thorburn, a nice grinder in the third or fourth line. Adam Party they got back. So, they're not looking too bad for next season. I just don't expect them to be a playoff team. Maybe in a couple years. I think they're going to have to wait a little while. But, if Evander Kane stays and Scheifele has a good breakout year, who knows? Yeah, that's going to do it for the first episode of the series, guys. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please leave a like, subscribe. See you guys next time.